Hey, what is going on, everyone? Hope you're doing well, having a good start to your Thursday there. Lots of crazy stuff going on in politics now, so I decided to kind of do a bit of a different Citizen Pete. Usually I kind of do things at 7, schedule things later on in the evening, but now it's just like, hey, let me just go live before I head on out to go do some work and stuff. So hey, here I am. Anyway, 2021 has been absolutely crazy. But who had AOC and Ted Cruz actually agreeing to something on their 2021 bucket list? I definitely did not. So after the recent stock crash or stock move by the trading app Robinhood, AOC tweeted out that this is unacceptable. We need to know more about Robinhood's decision to block retail investors from purchasing stock while hedge funds are freely able to do so as they see fit. So, in case you have been, living under a rock for the past couple days, GameStop stock has just shot through the roof as, hedge fund guys made bets that the stock was going to try to short the stock, and some Redditors came together and made sure that went sky high. But in response, Robinhood has, for some reason, stopped trading on a lot of these retail stocks now that stocks like AMC and Nokia are just also shooting through the roof, and they've actually come in and shut that down. And AOC's got some questions, and apparently so does Ted Cruz. He said he fully agrees with AOC's statement. Wow, that's just crazy. And apparently he's not the only one. And I've seen, Ben Shapiro and a lot of other conservatives actually agree with AOC on this, which is insane. I mean, that is not something you see every day, them retweeting and supporting Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But AOC was clapped back on someone who she says almost got her killed, writing, "I am happy to work with Republicans on this issue where there's common ground, but yeah, you almost had me murdered 3 weeks ago, so you can sit this one out. Happy to work with almost anyone else in the GOP that isn't trying to get her killed. In the meantime, if you want to help, you can resign." Yeah, AOC pulling no punches there. Now this, of course, comes after the Capitol was stormed almost a month ago on the 6th of January, in which AOC reportedly said she feared for her life, something that Republicans openly mocked her for. So unfortunately, this bipartisanship on Capitol Hill will probably be short-lived. But if I was someone working at Robinhood, I'd be very worried right now, because you guys are in a lot of trouble if you've actually gotten conservatives and liberals to agree on something at Capitol Hill. Yeah, this GameStop story really is insane. But hey, if you're just joining on with the stream, if you haven't already, do me a favor, like and subscribe to the channel. I would very, very much appreciate it. But yes, if you haven't bought GameStop stock yet, you've already probably missed out. But that doesn't mean you're completely out of luck, because this could actually change the stock market in a very, very big way.
I think that what you're seeing is essentially a pushback against the establishment in a really important way. You have a lot of people, and I would encourage anybody who is dismissive of this thing to go into Wall Street Bets and actually just read the forums. And I think that you're going to see 3 kinds of posts. The first kind of content are a lot of people doing some incredible fundamental diligence on companies, trying to think about long-term value. And in my opinion, many of them are doing as good and, frankly, a better job than a lot of hedge fund analysts that I work with. That's number one. The second are a lot of people who believe that, coming out of 2008, what happened was Wall Street took an enormous amount of risk, and they left retail as the bag holder. And a lot of these kids were in grade school and high school when that happened. They lost their homes. their parents lost their jobs. And they've always wondered, like, why did those folks get bailed out for taking enormous amounts of risk and nobody helped and showed up to help my family? And then the third thing is a realization that instead of having idea dinners or, quiet whispered conversations amongst hedge funds in the Hamptons, these kids have the courage to do it transparently in a forum. And I'm not saying all of it is perfect by any means, but I think it takes an enormous amount of faith in the system to be that transparent, to talk about things, and then for each individual to make their own mind up and to do things, whether it's to buy and to sell.
Yeah, it's always funny watching some of those interviews and someone forgets to turn the anchor's mic off. Like, dude, just press the button, turn the mic off. It's very simple. Well, if you haven't heard already, here's a little bit of background on what actually happened in the craziness in the stock market. So basically, hedge fund guys bet the stock market would go down and put money on that. And then Reddit users came together to prop that stock back up. And now these hedge fund dudes could lose big. And that's big with a very massive B, as in billions. Okay, that joke didn't quite work out. They're not all going to work out. Anyway, so far this year, short sell positions in the U.S. have lost over $70 billion. $70 billion. Basically, people making these short sell bets have lost $70 billion so far this year, which is a massive amount of money. Now, not all of that is tied to this GameStop craziness we're seeing going on right now, but still, that is a lot of money. And one thing that I think is definitely being missed in this whole story is that these hedge fund guys, these big money Wall Street, capitalist folks, they're not even gambling with their own money. They're gambling with our money. And, the Reddit folks aren't done. So far, they've propped up AMC's stock price, and they've propped up Nokia's stock price. But of course, the only thing that could actually stop them is Wall Street itself. And the market is actually talking about shutting down over this, like stopping trading to basically get a handle of what's going on. And I guess that's just how the free market works these days. It works for the rich, but if the poor guy gets lucky, well, then apparently it doesn't work at all. But yes, if you did miss out on the original GameStop stock, jumping up, there's still time. So get on Reddit or Discord if that hasn't been shut down yet, and I guess place your bets, y'all. So if you are joining me live, I see you got a couple people tuning in. Do me a favor, leave a chat. Let me know what you're thinking. Especially let me know if you've gotten in on some of that GameStop money. And if you have, let me just say, investing in this show would be awesome. You see, there's a Venmo scrolling around down there. Maybe a little Cash App if that's more your style. But hey, support independent journalism. If you are now a GameStop millionaire, I would very, very much appreciate it. So it turns out the COVID-19 pandemic could have actually been worse in New York than we originally thought. There's some new reporting coming out from the Associated Press that suggests that the nursing home deaths were undercounted by the thousands. Apparently, New York's Attorney General looked into the death numbers for several nursing homes and found that they did not add up. Apparently, they didn't add up by quite a bit because the numbers could be off by as much as 50%. And this follows another AP article from a few months ago that said they could be off by 65%. And of course, the big question is why? Well, looks like New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo could be in a little bit of trouble here with this one. As I pull this article up for you, he said that the positive patients, when the pandemic first started, he said that positive COVID patients could return to their nursing homes. And then said, he never said that, but, according to a report from the New York State Department of Health, 6,300 COVID-19 patients were admitted to nursing home facilities, following Cuomo's mandate that nursing homes accept readmission of COVID-positive patients from hospitals, whether or not it was needed. So the fact is, whether Cuomo admits it or not, this did happen. Basically, COVID patients that were positive, that were, living in nursing homes, Cuomo allowed them to go back to those nursing homes because that's where they lived, which makes sense, except when you consider that older folks in nursing homes are the most likely people to die from COVID-19. And it really makes no sense at all. Now, for months and months, people have been playing politics with this virus. Some states have taken it more seriously than others, and New York, Biden in general, has done a good job. And I think Cuomo, in a lot of ways, has done a good job with the pandemic in New York. And, New York was the first state to actually face this. We kind of forget this now, but the virus kind of came over from Europe. And when it first got to the United States, we really didn't know a ton about it. So New York kind of went into this blind. But let's be honest here. Let's be real about what happened. Cuomo has made a mistake, a very big mistake. It happened. And now we're finding out it's much worse than previously reported. And this story just broke. We're still trying to figure out what's going on here. But my question is, why were these numbers undercounted? Who undercount these numbers? And under whose direction were they undercounted? So, watch this space. There's going to be a lot more of this story going forward. But someone could be in a little bit of trouble here. Hey, welcome back to the stream as we round out to our last story in this kind of short version of Citizen Pete Live. Again, if you haven't already, do me a favor, like and subscribe to the channel. Definitely trying to do things more, talk about topics more quickly. I think I've been spending too much time just on, producing segments and make them look perfect. But I also just, want to talk about what's actively going on now. So here I am. So anyway, as we move on. So Nancy Pelosi today stepped up to her lectern. Apparently, I guess they have a spare after that dude stole one earlier this month, and absolutely destroyed the leadership of the Republican Party.
Madam Speaker, I wanted to ask you about Marjorie Taylor Greene. How concerned are you about her past posts, remarks, rhetoric? What would you like to see done about her?
What I'm concerned about is the Republican leadership in the House of Representatives, who was willing to overlook, ignore those statements, assigning her to the Education Committee when she has mocked the killing of little children at Sandy Hook Elementary School, when she has mocked the killing of teenagers in high school at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. What could they be thinking, or is thinking too generous a word for what they might be doing? It's absolutely appalling, and I think that the focus has to be on the Republican leadership of this House of Representatives for the disregard they have for the death of those children. They not only are they not interested in gun safety and gun violence prevention by passing legislation for background checks legislation, which is overwhelmingly supported in a bipartisan way in the country. But to have someone who would mock, call it a fake, those fake events onto the is just beyond It's just beyond any understanding of any regard that the House Republicans would have for the House of Representatives, for the Congress of the United States, and for the heartbreak of the families in Sandy Hook and at Marjorie Stone High School. Marjorie Stone Douglas High School, it's really beyond the pale. You're just going to have to ask them why they thought that raised itself to the level of something appropriate to do in the Congress of the United States.
Yeah, she tore into them like they were one of her grandkids. And, you might not like AOC, might not be an AOC fan, but I dare you to leave me a comment and try to explain this crazy, crazy bullshit. So if you haven't heard of Marjorie Taylor Greene, the QAnon congresswoman, she said things like Muslims shouldn't be allowed in Congress or in the government. She has called blacks slaves to the Democratic Party, and in the past has even liked Facebook posts calling for Obama to be killed and for someone to put a bullet in Nancy Pelosi's head. Yes, what a perfect candidate for Congress, right? She has also, of course, called mass shooting events like the one at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas in Parkland, Florida, and the Las Vegas shooting in Nevada as staged events to take away people's gun rights. Yes, she thinks that all of these children who were killed in these mass shootings, it was all fake. She thinks this was all just something to take guns away, because apparently she thinks that's what Democrats are obsessed with. So much so that they could pull off this massive, crazy conspiracy, and it is beyond ridiculous that someone would think that is potentially true, and that someone would be a member of Congress. Well, Nancy might have just put a bullet in Major Taylor Greene's career. All right, sorry, that might have been a little off-color joke, but yes, Miss QAnon could be in some trouble here. A congressman from California is moving to expel her from Congress, kick her out of Congress based on all of the crazy rhetoric she has brought to the House. Now, I kind of doubt this would happen. Really, actually kind of doubt this would happen. Democrats and Republicans are basically split in the House. Democrats have the majority, but it's a very slim margin, and you need 2/3 votes to actually kick someone out of Congress. But I don't know. I mean, she makes some damn good points there. I mean, you really have to be like living in a whole nother world to take someone who has called school shootings faked, staged events and appoint them to an education committee. I mean, seriously? I mean, is that where we are in Congress, right? Yeah, let's get someone who denies school shootings, like let's put them in a position of power over education. I mean, come on. So we'll see. I'll be watching this one very closely because I really hope this resolution passes, because if QAnon, it shouldn't be on the internet, much less, in the House. Well, that's me, y'all. Short one today. Again, I just kind of put this together. I was like, oh, what's kind of the trending stories going on, and what are people talking about? So I figured I would jump on it and bring you guys that. But hey, if you haven't already, do me a favor, like and subscribe to the channel. I'd very much appreciate it. And sign up for notifications and leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys are thinking out there. I got to run off to work. This is kind of like a fun hobby for me, but I got a main job to do. So again, thanks so much for watching Citizen Pete, and I'll check you guys on the flip side.